Okay, here we are with Signing Naturally, Unit 1, Subchapter 3. This is mainly going to be focused on fingerspelling. Specifically, we're looking at the fist letters, which is a grouping of letters where they're all based around the fist. Okay, so I've compared in the other video the idea that there are like sticky outy um, uh, letters, and there's also moving letters. The fist letters are actually, I kind of see it as the glue that holds together most words. Um, Letters will pop out, come back to the center, pop out, come back to the center. And these are the center ones. You almost don't see these in a really fast fingerspelled word. Um, so you kind of see the placeholder. I guess the best way I could explain it is, I suppose, it's the opposite of Hebrew, where there's diacritical marks that go on the outside, and eventually you lose those and you just see the big ones. You don't see the diacritical marks in ASL. Those are the fist letters. You see all the stuff that sticks out, and you figure out what's in the middle. But that's only when they go fast. So don't fret, don't fret, don't fret. Okay. So to start out with, I've got. I'm going to put the entirety of this lecture embedded in here so you'll be able to see it. The sign for letter, there are two different ones. One is this. I tend to point with the writing hand to this one. In general, you'll notice that the hand you write with tends to do the most movement, or at least feels the most comfortable. And then the other hand is the anvil, the hammer and the anvil. The other one is this, letter. And it comes from a written letter like post office stamps. Like, so you lick a stamp and stick it on. I know. Back in the day, we used to have to lick the stamps, put them on. So, letter. This has been used for letters as well. I think it also might have come from printing presses, which there's a long history in deaf culture and deaf schools of teaching students how to use a printing press. So we'll get into that when we get into deaf history a little bit more. So there are two different signs for letter that are on the PowerPoint. In this video, there's some general advice on fingerspelling, where to place them. In general, it's right in front of your shoulder. That also usually gives a nice solid background for fingerspelling. Up here, you could have background noise and lighting, but at least in the front, it's pretty stable. And then it should be pretty comfortable. Try to keep your fingerspelling relaxed. Do not get too tense. That's going to be a big thing. It's just try to stay relaxed. Try to breathe as you do it. Don't hold your breath and try to be. And don't worry about facing the palm absolutely forward. It should go a little bit on a 45. If you turn your body a little bit to the opposite 45, it will reduce the stress. You can feel the difference when you rotate it too far. You can feel that tension, and that, not like you're going to have to worry about carpal tunnel, but if you became an interpreter, you would, because you'd be putting way too much strain on it. Okay, so she gives some good advice on flow and style and how best to be seen. So here are the fist letters. We start with A, E, I, O, S, T, N, and M. If you notice the last one's T, N, M. It's a succession, right? T, index finger, N, these two fingers, M, these three fingers. So there's a little grouping within there. Again, it has nothing to do with English. It has everything to do with handshake. The next video, she will actually give some really good advice on how to produce each one. So watch that, watch through it. That'll be the easiest way of doing it. Here's some names to practice using these letters. And for right now, you will be saying M-O-E, N-A-O-M-I. You're going to be saying letters as you do it. And eventually, you're going to want to drop that and get to the point where you're doing entire syllables or entire words with just the letters, just thinking the sound of the entire word. We'll get there. So practice these. If you know other names that could use the fist letters, or the letters from your name, by all means, I'll never tell you to not practice your finger spelling. Practicing different letter combinations, SA, SO, SE, ST, like for example, like the A, AA, AE, AI, AO, AS, AT, AN, AM. Those kind of practice drills will really help. And then go to the next letter. EA, E A, E E, E I, E O, E S, E T, E N, E M. What's nice about those is those are not combinations you normally see. So if you start getting good at them, it will make difficult words easier to fingerspell. If you only fingerspell words that are common combinations, if you run across one that's funky, it may be difficult, or it makes it that much more difficult. As an interpreter, I ran into a lot of names from other languages, and there were letter combinations that I wasn't used to. So at times it became more of a challenge. So I'll recommend starting out now that it's all arbitrary, practice as many different combinations as you can. If your name or like your last name is difficult to spell in English, try and fingerspell it. See if you can develop speed with that as well. Okay. Normally what I would do at this point is I'd have you practice letter combinations, and then I'd walk around the room and try to give some feedback. Eventually, you are not going to be doing like EA. You're not going to be stopping at each letter. You're going to flow from one to the next. So try not to bounce. I brace this hand. Don't have to be hard. It's usually just, I'll put a little pressure on it from both sides and fingerspell. It helps keep it in one place. It doesn't bounce too much, up or down, forward, back. And I can monitor how tense I am. And also smooth. You're going to get to the point where you're not reading the letters so much as the movement of the wrist. And eventually that will be what tells you that's the best, most reliable thing for fingerspelling. More names, blah, blah, blah. And this was all the vocab that is in 103. There's some practice exercises from the book, and I put them in here. It says circle them, but, do whatever you want. And so the first one was practice, then there are two circle letters. I will put the answers in here. I might wait and let you stew in it. But and then I put all the videos in at the end, so you can watch through everything from the book in case there's anything missing. Cool. So that's 1.03. It's the fist letters. It's the first sort of subcategory of the alphabet that we're looking at. Excellent.